All right, so we're picking up from last week's talk with the kids here, and it's about Joseph. So it's important to kind of have this context of where Joseph is in our mind. So where did we leave our hero Joseph last? Any guys remember?
Nope.
No? His brothers loved him so much because he was... Right? He was the favorite. And the brothers thought, it's so great that Dad loves this guy the best. Yeah, right. That's how that went. Remember what Joseph had that kind of stirred the brothers up a bit? A what? A coat. A fabulous coat of many colors. And, back then, getting fancy colors was hard to do. You didn't just go to your local Kmart and buy a purple coat. It was hard to get colors. So he had all this coat with this fancy coat. And what else went wrong for Joseph? Or what else did the brothers get irritated about?
They all have to do that.
Dreams. This is key for today. Joseph had dreams. And these dreams were about, there was these sheaves of wheat. Remember what they did?
They bowed down.
Yeah, they bowed down. And so Joseph's like, yeah, I had this dream, and we were all these sheaves of wheat, and all of your sheaves of wheat bowed down to me. Like, yeah, that's great. We like that dream. Not. And Joseph didn't learn from this experience of making his brothers so unhappy. And so he says, but wait, guys, there's more. I had another dream where you guys were all the stars and the moon. And guess what? All of yours bowed down to me. Isn't that great? No, they didn't think that was so great, huh? So how did they get rid of Joseph? Remember this one?
Threw him in a well. Put him in a well, and they traded him for Egypt.
Yeah, they sold him for money. They said, let's get rid of this clown. We'll get some money for him. Because they were going to kill him. One of the brothers says, no, let's not kill him. Let's get something for this guy. Why? We get nothing if we kill him, so let's get some money. So they did. That's where we left him. So just a couple of the points to kind of keep in mind. Remember that Joseph is Rachel's son. And so for Jacob, that's another reason why Joseph's the favorite. That's why we talk about Joseph being the favorite. Well, he's from the favorite wife. This is the girl he loved the best. So, I think that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. Okay. So, that's where we are with Joseph. And now, we're going to pick up... You know what? No, I'm going to tell you a little story first. Before we go to the actual Bible story of Joseph, I'll tell you a little story about me. So, when I was a boy, don't you like it when adults start with stories like that? When I was a boy, I went to school just like you guys, but I didn't have a 9 o'clock start time. We had to get up early for school, and we had to be there and be ready to go 8:15. The bells ring and school starts. And you know what happens at 8:15 where I went to school? It was stand up, get in a line, and you're starting to march. And you're marching from, in my case, it was the 3rd floor of DeCharms Hall. You walk down the stairs, across the bridge, into the next building, down the stairs, into the big auditorium. And each year of school, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever, they all had assigned rows, and you just filed in, and you sat down. And you know what we did every day? We did what we're doing right now. Every day, there's a church service. You get up and you sing some songs, and the preacher does his thing. And then you get back up, and then you march your way back to school. And then the rest of the school day starts at 8:45. So we had to start earlier every day of school because we had to have a chapel talk. Now, I don't know how that appeals or disappeals to you. I don't remember being bothered by it. It was just kind of part of life. But you could imagine if you go to church every day, 5 days a week, for, say, 18 years of your life. Maybe it wasn't that long. I didn't start school till at age 0. But you might get tired of it, right? That's what happened to me. I was 18. I went to college and I thought, kind of tired of this. But the college where I went, you only had to go to church 1 day a week. I had to go on Wednesday mornings. And I was like, well, all right, I can go 1 day a week. But after 2 years of that, I left. And I went and I got a job, worked at a job for a year and change. And then I went to another university to finish my degree. And when I went away, you know what I said? No more church for me, buddy. No more. I'm tired of it. I don't have to go to church. I'm a grown-up. You can't make me. Worked really well until I got married. Worked really well until the wife decided she wanted to go to church. But even then, I was able to put up a bit of a fight and say, I don't have to go to church. You might be my wife, but you can't make me go. And this is a thing in life that a lot of us go through. We say, you know what? Enough. Now, I didn't stop believing in God. I didn't stop believing in the afterlife. I didn't stop believing you should be a good person. But I had felt like I was tired of going to church 5 days a week and for that time. And this story that you're going to hear today from about Joseph, there's some of that in us. The Lord's telling us we go through a part in our life where we say, you know what? I've had enough of Joseph. I've had enough. I want to learn about stuff right here and now. I want to learn about computer programming. I want to learn about accounting. I want to learn about art, design, whatever it is. I want to learn some stuff. But I don't want to learn about church stuff. And that's kind of what this story is about. So let's work through the story and kind of see what's going on here. Joseph, for us, he's the part of us that wants to do the right thing. He wants to hear what the Lord says and do the right thing. And so what you're going to see now is, well, what's happening to him? He's already been sold by his brothers. He's already been sold by his brother. What else is going to happen to this part of our life, or part of ourself? Okay, so here we go. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Now Egypt is a representation, is a symbol for learning. That's where all the great learning happens. It's learning about the world, facts and knowledge. And it's like school, all right? So he's taken down to Egypt. And Potiphar, the Egyptian, one of Pharaoh's eunuchs and the head of the executioners, had bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. He lodged in the house, Joseph that is, lodged in the house of his Egyptian master. And when his master saw how the Lord was with him, and how the Lord made everything he undertook successful, Potiphar put him in charge of the household. Now, this is key, all right? Joseph is a slave, but he's in charge. He says, man, everything you do works out. You're going to be in charge of everything. So he could do whatever he wanted in that house. Now Joseph was well built and handsome and good looking. And it happened sometime later that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph and said, sleep with me. But he refused, and he said, how could I do anything so wicked and sin against God? He says, look, my master has given me everything. I can do what I want around here. How could I take you from him? He's been so good to me. That's kind of one of those things I use in my life. Whenever the idea of doing something wrong comes in my head, I go, oh man, the Lord has been so good to me. How could I think about doing this terrible thing? My master is so good. And although she spoke to Joseph day after day, he would not agree to sleep with her or be with her. But one day when Joseph came into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the household happened to be indoors, she caught a hold of him by his garment and said, sleep with me. But he left, and the garment in her hand he took to his heels and he got out. Some people write it as he fled. Whew. You know, sometimes when you know trouble's about, the best thing you do is get out. Just leave. Get out of there. Don't stick around. When she saw that he had left the tunic in her hands as he ran out, she called her servants and said to them, "Look at this! My husband brought a Hebrew in to make a fool of me. He came in to sleep with me, but I screamed, and when he heard me scream, he left his garment beside me and ran out of the house." Yes, I'm glad you guys see what the issue is here. She kept the tunic by her until his master came home. Then she told him the same tale. When his master heard his wife say, "This is how your slave treated me," he became furious. Joseph's master had him arrested and committed to jail where the king's prisoners were kept. Joseph's not having any luck, is he? I mean, he started to have some luck. You know, he's sold off and he's in charge of this house. Things aren't so bad, right? If you're going to be a slave, have a slave and in charge isn't a bad deal. And this happens. Not fair, is it? This wife, this Potiphar's wife, who we don't know her name, but what's she trying to do? I mean, think about what she's trying to do. She's trying to take Joseph, the part of us that desires to follow what the Lord says, and she's trying to take control of it and use it for her gain. Think about this. Liam decides he wants to get a job. He's old enough now, and he goes over to the McDonald's and he gets a job, and they say, "Liam, you're the man. You're a great worker. You come here every day and you do what you're supposed to. You clean up. You're nice to the customers. You do great things." The thing is, Liam's got some friends that, they're not always so nice. And they know Liam cooks a really good burger over at McDonald's. And so after school, Liam's buddies come over and say, "Hey, Liam, why don't you give me a free burger? Maybe some fries too? Just put it in a little bag and slide it out the back." Now Liam knows that because his boss trusts him, and everybody around has seen what a good job he's done these last several months there, that he could do it. Nobody would notice. Nobody would notice because they don't even pay attention to what he does because he does a good job. And that part inside Liam says, "Oh, you know what? I can use the trust that everybody has for me and get away with it. I can give my friends free burgers and fries. And you know what? My friends are going to like me even more because I give them free stuff when they come to visit me." That's Potiphar's wife right there, fellas. That's Potiphar's wife. They trust you so much because everything's going so well. Yeah, we can use this to our advantage. They trust me. And it works for a little while until the part of you says, no, I'm not going to give my friends free burgers. I'm not going to give my friends free burgers. And then the other part of you inside yourself fights back and says, I hate this, Joseph. I want to have some fun. I hate this. I care about what my friends think about me more than what the Lord thinks about me. So, Joseph, you're getting me in trouble with my friends. Falsely accuse him. He goes off into prison. Joseph, trapped. But the story doesn't end there. Joseph's story keeps on going. It's a good one. It happened sometime later that the king of Egypt's cupbearer, also known as his butler, and his baker offended their master, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officials and put them in jail where Joseph was a prisoner. Now both of them had dreams the same night, each with its own meaning for the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were the prisoners in jail. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they looked gloomy, and he asked the two officials, "Why these sad looks today?" They replied, "We have each had a dream, but there's nobody to interpret it." "Are not interpretations God's business?" Joseph asked them. Tell me about them." So the chief cupbearer described his dream to Joseph, telling him, "In my dream there was a vine in front of me, and on the vine there were 3 branches. And no sooner had it budded that it blossomed, and its clusters became ripe grapes. I had the Pharaoh's cup in my hand. I picked the grapes, and I squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup and put the cup in Pharaoh's hand." "Well, this is what it means," says Joseph. "The 3 branches are 3 days. In another 3 days, Pharaoh will lift your head by restoring you to your position. Be sure to remember me when things go well for you, and keep faith with me by reminding Pharaoh about me and to get me out of this house," meaning prison. Well, the chief baker, seeing that the interpretation had been favorable, said to Joseph, "I too had a dream. There were these 3 wicker trays with holes on my head, and in the top tray were all kinds of pastries and breads for Pharaoh, such as a baker might make. And the birds were eating them off the tray on my head." Joseph replies, "Well, this is what it means. The 3 trays are 3 days. In another 3 days, Pharaoh will lift your head by hanging you on a gallows, and the birds will eat your flesh off your bones." Not really a very friendly interpretation, is it? And so it happened. On the 3rd day, it was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a banquet for all his officials. Of his officials, he lifted the head of the cupbearer and the chief baker. The cupbearer by restoring him to his cupbearing, so he again handed Pharaoh his cup, and by hanging the chief baker, as Joseph had explained to them. But the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph. He had forgotten him. So where's Joseph? Prison. He's still in prison. So, these dreams. Once again, Joseph, dreams, they come into play. And I'll give you a hint. There's going to be more dreams in Joseph coming into play soon, next week. But what did you notice anything about these dreams? Did anything jump out at you? About, let's see. I realize we don't have cupbearers in our daily life here. But do you know what the cupbearer's job is? His job is very simple. To bring Pharaoh his cup with wine in it. There was grapes, so he gets the wine, he brings Pharaoh's cup. Pharaoh's cup, here you go, Pharaoh. That's his job. Not bad life, huh? I need a cup. All right, I'm your guy. Got it. In that dream, what was the cupbearer doing? He was doing his job, right? He was bringing Pharaoh his cup. Squeeze some fresh grapes. Here you go, Pharaoh. Here's your cup. He was doing his job. How about the other dream? Was he doing his job? No. There were 2 things saying, I'm not doing my job. One is the baskets. Had a wicker basket. Had holes in it, it said. Had holes in it. So you have baskets like this. How good is it for carrying bread? It's worthless. If I brought in a loaf of bread, which I almost did this morning, I was going to give this to Liam and say, Liam, how much bread can you get in my basket? It would have been difficult to do. Now it's some big holes. What was the other thing that went with the baker's dream? Birds. The birds were eating the bread. Is Pharaoh getting the bread? No. Is the baker doing his job? No. He's failing twice. He's got lousy baskets and he's got birds. Well, the Lord gives us a hint as to what this wine and this bread are all about. We do a Holy Supper service a few times a year. And in Holy Supper, the wine is about truth. It's about the things that we learn. what's true, what's not true. The bread is about goodness. It's about, you need two things in life in the Holy Supper. You need to learn the right things, you need to do the right things. Really simple. So Pharaoh in this case, he restores the cupbearer. What's he willing to take? He's willing to take lessons from the butler. He's willing to learn things. Is he willing to do the right thing? Is he willing to do the right thing? Now the goodness, it's not making it to Pharaoh. The goodness isn't making it. Teach me all you want, but I'm not going to change what I do. Yeah, I want to learn some stuff, but I'm not going to do anything different. So Joseph remains in prison. He remains in prison. He remains in prison for something he didn't do. He remains in prison despite the fact that when he was in charge of Potiphar's house, everything was going really well. And I don't know about you guys, I mean, you're not really old enough to have lots of job experience and stuff, but the rest of us here have had experience in life with jobs. I have found that when I do my job honestly and faithfully and to the best of my ability, things do go well. If I show up to work on time, I do what I'm supposed to do, they pay me more money than I started with. They go, hey, you're doing a great job. Have some more money. Stick around. I've had jobs where I've said, you know what? I want to get paid more. You're not paying me more. I'm going to leave. The boss picks up the phone and he says, hey, I'm going to get you a raise right now. I will pay you more because I want you to stay because you're doing a good job. I didn't steal from people. I didn't steal from the company. I didn't cause problems. When Joseph's in charge, good things happen. Good things happen. So when we put Joseph in prison, that bad things don't go so well. But what you see in this story is that every time Joseph has a setback, there's always a setup for the next thing. He gets set back by being sold by his brothers. It's a setup to go to Potiphar's house. Good life there. He's there for a while. Setback. Potiphar's wife puts him in jail. And set up. It's set up with these dreams that we have today. Next week, you're going to see that dreams are going to get him out of prison. So kind of keep this in mind, that when we have bad things in life happen to us, there's always something else coming around that's going to make things right.